What's up, Warriors, and welcome to another episode of the Mental Health Movement podcast, Voice for the Voiceless. I am your host, Chris, and today's special guest he is a fellow mental health advocate who has a very special journey himself. I wanted to bring him on so he could tell his journey, talk about all the things and projects that he's doing, and all the things that he's doing to contribute to the mental health community, as well as just showing people how to live their life better, showing how we could all improve our lifestyles and everything. So please help me welcome Eliza. Eliza, how you doing, man? You there, Eliza? I think you're still on mute.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here. I'm coming on the video.
It's okay.
Second. I'm new to this.
It's all right. It's all right.
What up?
How you doing, man? Thank you so much for
Pretty good.
coming on.
No problem. No problem. Thank you for having me, yo.
Yeah, man, of course. Like I mentioned before, I just wanted to bring you on, just to, tell us about your journey, tell us about all your beliefs and everything. So super excited to get in touch with you and see where your head was at with all this. So I'm very excited for today's conversation, man.
Yeah, so am I, yo. I just want to do the best I can. I'm nervous. It's
Yeah,
my
man.
first time doing something like this.
Cool.
So you want me to just start out a little bit by telling you about myself, or?
Yeah, yeah. If you want to tell the
All right.
listeners, just a little about yourself.
First, my name is Eliza Lansdown. I just turned 40 a few weeks ago, February 28th. Um, I grew up rough. Like my life has been dumb hard. You know what I'm saying? I've literally lost like every single person close to me. It seems like I feel like God just left me with the savages out here. Like anyone who ever cared about me, I feel like cared about me is gone. You know what I mean? I grew up like hard. I went to like literally like 12 different elementary schools, like six different middle schools. You know what I'm saying? I lost my mother when I was 20. Um, I lost my stepfather when I was 13, 14, which is like my father. Um, I've just lost so many family members. I've battled with depression, drug addiction, alcoholism, obesity, um, and I feel like I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder. And in my heart now, from my understanding and from my studies and my experiences, it was mainly substance induced. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So, and I suffer from depression. Bipolar 2 is mainly like the lower side.
Right. Right.
Sometimes I have the higher side, you know what I mean? But it's hypomanic, not hyper, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I might get symptoms like it's hard for me to sleep. Still to this day, I have those type of symptoms, like where it's hard for me to like shut my brain down, it's hard for me to sleep. But one thing that I wanted to talk about on here is triggers. You see, now I
Yeah.
know my triggers.
Right.
Now I know I can't have caffeine at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? Now I know I can't look at certain things, excuse me, at a certain time. And I know if I did have that, if I have like caffeine or chocolate or sugar, and I know I can't sleep, I don't stress because I know what it is.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about on here to anybody who want to like do better or get better or change their mental health for the better or anything, physical health. Real knowledge is self-knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, and the whole thing that I try to do is I try to help people learn themselves because nobody knows how you feel better than you.
Right. I agree.
You know what I mean? So, I've basically I like to like reference this when I tell people how my life has been and what's been going on. I feel like a small village somewhere in the third world country that like got wiped out. That's how I feel like my life has been. like that terrible at points where it's been that terrible.
Right.
Literally in the past 5 years, I've lost literally over 20 family members to drug addiction, to fentanyl.
Wow.
Friends and
I
family,
can't
fentanyl.
imagine.
So I thank God that I made it out. I don't drink,
Yeah.
I don't smoke any of that. And it's a miracle. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I know that I'm here for a real reason
Yeah.
because I'm supposed to be gone
Right.
or locked up or in jail or not or wishing I was locked up. I mean, wishing I was dead. So like I said, I don't want to make this about me really because I want everyone to know that you're here for a reason as well.
Mhm. So let's talk about your diagnosis really quick. How old were you when you got diagnosed with bipolar 2?
At first, it was first depression. It was
Okay.
I think it was severe depressive disorder or something like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, uh, it's probably like right before my mom passed away, so I think I was like 19.
Okay. And you said since then you've lost about 20 family members, you said?
Bro, I can't even count. It's
Yeah.
been 20 in like the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Literally,
Right.
friends, family
Mhm.
members are like friends that's considered like family.
Yeah. And you said
Literally.
it was almost all, if not all, to addiction?
Um, basically.
Yeah.
One of
That's rough.
well, addiction or murder.
Yeah.
Or
And
murder.
I think the hardest part of that is, like you said, you have those thoughts of maybe you shouldn't be here, or you're grateful that you are here, and you don't wish you were dead or anything, but you thank God that you made it here. It's the hardest part is thinking that you could have just been another statistic. And
Mhm.
the other side of that coin is you broke that cycle, you fought addiction, and you are openly struggling with mental health addiction
No
and
doubt.
or mental health addiction, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
With mental health and addiction. Um and I feel that even talking about ourselves and sharing our journey is just as important as creating that awareness, because if you're not making it personal, then it's hard for people to
Relate.
to listen wholeheartedly, because
Mhm.
you're not sharing your personal story and what it did for you. I feel that it's not 100% sincere, because it's like, okay, are you reading a statistic to me, or did you go through something? And
Mhm.
like you said, nobody knows how you feel about something better than you. So
Exactly.
any time that throughout this podcast and uh whatever is asked, feel free to make it as personal as you want to try and help you get the point across, because one of the biggest things that I really wanted you on here for is because not only do you have the age factor over me, but you also have that experience that you overcame and you fought through things. And I feel that's one of the most important parts of mental health awareness, is talking about that journey that got you to where you are now. You can still be grateful, but still also talk about that awareness.
Man, I've overcome so much that all I want to do is just help everybody else overcome it
Right.
because it's so like out of this world the stuff that I overcame. You understand what I'm saying? So knowledge is meant to be passed down. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
um with that being said, I had something but I lost my thought. I lost my train of thought. One of the big things I wanted to share what I found out, and this is just over the past like year, is that my mental health diagnosis or my addiction does not define who I am.
Amen.
Your mental health diagnosis or your addiction does not define the person that you are, right? Now
Absolutely.
you want to get personal, I'm gonna get personal. I've been called crackheads, crazy, all types of stuff, right? But and this is not an ego. This is not an ego place. Coming from an ego place. From people that's not even a fraction of who I am as a person.
Right.
I say that to say I want everybody to understand that your mental health diagnosis or addiction does not define who you are. Do not let people make you feel like you're less than. This is my biggest message I want, or make you feel like you're crazy, or make you feel like you are your diagnosis, because that's simply just not the truth.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing that I've come to understand, like overstand these days, that you have to understand the difference between fandoms or and high value people. Your mental illness or your addiction does not uh define who you are. You know, like when you're sick, I'm trying to figure out like the best way to say this.
Your diagnosis doesn't define you as doesn't define your character or your being.
Not at all. Not at all. Not
How
even
you
a little
overcome
bit.
it defines you.
Exactly. You know, and another thing too, um, like I said, one of the ways I wanted to tell people, see, this is gonna get real. This is gonna get real. I don't know. Some people might agree, some people might not agree, but I'm telling you my experience. You know how I said people called me crazy. People have said like I was a crackhead, or they thought that I was dead, some thought that I was that. This is how you get better, bro. This is what you do. This is how you get better with that. You use every single thing that anybody has ever said to you, any bullshit that try to make you feel bad, make you look bad, and you take it and you internalize it and you
Yep.
use that to get better.
Yep. Use it as fuel, absolutely.
That's
And,
it.
and
That's it.
one of the biggest things for me growing up is I got bullied a lot. I got bullied by kids at school, got bullied by my own father. That's just been my life. And being a bigger guy, it came with that too. And I took a lot of it personal and I didn't use it as fuel because I was never given those tools to use it as
Yeah,
that
you didn't
fuel.
know. Like, yeah, that's
Right.
understandable. Yeah.
And looking at it now and listening to insults now, some of them hurt because some hit a little deeper than they should. But like you said, if you don't use that criticism, you don't use those nasty words as fuel to get better or to prove people wrong. I mean, the best revenge in any situation is proving people wrong,
It's
is
success.
being
That
happy.
people say me versus me and I don't have nothing to prove. BS. Bullshit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Check this out, bro. Um, um, you got to understand too. See, you have to. I learned how to look at things. Once you learn how to look at things from other people's perspective, your life will change drastically. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So if anyone that's bullying you or anyone that's saying hurtful things to you for no reason, it's something going on within them,
Right.
because only hurt people hurt people.
Absolutely.
So now when I see someone who just blatantly try to like put me down, I just laugh like, keep it moving, because it's not about what they say to you, it's about what you say to yourself. And I don't want to, I hate to sound like cliche, but it's real. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So you got to
And
understand, if somebody disrespects you or try to bully you, they're hurting.
right. I agree. And that internal dialogue is so important. That self-love and how you talk to yourself after the fact that somebody has talked to you the way that they have. You know, any conversations I've had with my dad in the last couple years that I've been in therapy, um, boundaries were laid down, and I don't just sit there and take it anymore. I'd be like, listen, I'm doing all of these things, and none of them are for you. They're for me. And if you don't like it, you can piss off. And it's honestly having that kind of mentality about anything that you're passionate about, I feel is important because if you are standing by a message, you are standing by awareness of something you truly believe in. Any criticism or any hate that is thrown your way doesn't mean anything. It just means you're doing good things because your
Exactly.
your success is bothering people.
100%. I see you hit that right on the nose. You hit that right on the nose. It's like now I understand where they say I got 9 haters, I'm trying to get 10.
Right.
You hit it,
Right.
you hit it right on the nose, because you see my platforms, you see my videos, you see my content. So at this point, every time someone throw a shot, it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
use it as
Exactly.
you throw a brick, I use it to build my empire.
Exactly. And
You know what I'm saying?
which kind of goes in, which funny enough, kind of goes into the first question I had written down for you, and that's change. It's one of the first talking points I wanted to cover. And I think you can add accountability in that same sentence of change, right?
Mm.
So as the people that are struggling with changing their life and coming out of their situations on top. What do you feel is the best way to, I guess, approach change? How do you go about even starting?
First, you have to know there is a problem and acknowledge there is a problem, and you have to want to change. If you don't want to change, then it's not going to happen.
Right.
So, it's just like with anything, even with mental health. See, it took a long time for me to. I came to the I surrendered to my addiction before I did to the mental health.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? It took a long
Mhm.
time for me to actually understand that. You know what? I do have anxiety. You know what I mean? I do get depressed sometimes. And then I realized the addiction just made it worse. So I
Yeah.
was self-medicating, but I was actually making it worse. And it was a terrible, terrible cycle. So first, you have to want better.
Right.
Point blank, period. So now how you go about changing? Simple, simple, simple baby steps. I'm gonna tell you what I did when I was depressed and I was down, like, feeling like the worst. I wasn't really down because this is like first world problems. So in my head, I was down. But I'm gonna tell you what I did. You know how sometimes it's hard for you to get up and brush your teeth, hard for you
Oh
to
yeah.
take a shower, hard for you to do anything. Sometimes you don't even eat because you don't feel like getting up to even make your food.
Right.
And we're big boys, so you at a bad place when you don't feel like getting up, right or wrong.
Right.
So this you probably been there for, you know what I mean? So
100%.
the first thing I did was I decided that I wanted better, right? So you could take as many different things you can do. First thing I did, I just got up. I found a new toothbrush, or I went to the store and I got some whitening toothpaste and I got some whitening mouthwash, and I just brushed my teeth. I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting at. For like 10 minutes, I brushed my teeth, brush it real good, clean my mouth real good, right? After I brushed my teeth, I washed with the whitening mouthwash. So basically, you take little steps like that, right? I clean, I clean my room. Once I cleaned the room and I got all the clutter, I did one set of push-ups. You see, once you take these baby steps, it's gonna snowball.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And then
Mhm.
that's when it comes back to knowing your triggers.
Right.
Don't believe everything, every thought that you have.
Right.
And another thing I did too was but this is real big. I'm still doing this to this day. I unfollow anything that makes me feel any type of way. So
Smart.
when I look at any of my platforms, all of that garbage is gone. I'm only looking at uplifting, motivational. I don't watch the news no more,
I don't blame you.
except when it's like snow. I love snow. So when it's
Right, right.
winter time and it might be like, I just look at the weather. But when I
Yeah.
see like the weather app and it say it might be snow a week later, I look at the news sometimes to catch the forecast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you one more thing too. The biggest thing, like you said, the issues you had with your father, right? Don't be afraid to cut people the off.
Facts.
Right
Facts.
now, I don't even talk to my own grandmother because she is toxic. She don't even want to see me happy unless I'm giving her something. But what people don't understand is to whom much is given, much is required.
Say that again.
To whom
Say that
much is
again.
given, much is required of them.
I love it.
Exactly why me and you are doing this podcast right now.
I love it. It's a good one.
So do not be afraid to protect your heart. I
Yeah.
don't care who it is.
And let me piggyback off of that, because cutting off people is the hardest thing that you can
People
do.
don't realize that.
And you know what's crazy? It's like, so for me, with somebody that has a gigantic heart for everybody I ever meet, even if it's a complete stranger, I talk to them like I've known them for 10, 15 years, right?
No doubt. Same here.
And the society norm of how you should love your family no matter what and forgive your family no matter what. Then when you start pushing against that social norm and you start going against the grain of, hey, I've had my mom blocked since last May.
Yeah.
And does it hurt my heart? Absolutely, it does. I would
No doubt.
kill to have a healthy relationship with her. But
No
I
doubt.
know, as somebody who's emotionally intelligent enough to know she will never get better, I refuse to let her back into my life.
You know why? Because you know what, bruh, I'm so passionate about this, and you're helping me so much, and like because they're set in their ways,
Yeah,
so
100%.
you have to move on. You have to.
Right.
It's it's,
And
it's you lead you show them by example. It's
exactly.
nothing else you could do for them.
And just recently, like not even 2 days ago, I cut off a friend that I've known for 10 years because she just wasn't good for my life. And she didn't do anything to contribute to my growth. We outgrew each other. And that's okay too. And, some people might not agree with cutting out other people, whether it's family, whether it's close friends, but people like you and I who have been put through the grinder so many times realize, like, hey, at some point you got to draw the line in the sand and listen, this is my boundary. And you have pushed past that boundary too many times
Too
and
many
you cut
times.
out.
You see. With that being said, like you said, people don't realize how hard it is to cut them off, right?
It's almost as hard as losing somebody.
It is it. It's like it's like a button, right? It's like a button that you have. You keep on pressing that button, pressing that button, pressing that button, pressing that button. Eventually, the sensor is going to wear off, and the
Right.
button's not going to work no more.
Yep.
So, but you know what? Like all that cliche stuff and all that sounds great and fine and dandy, but we're getting too damn old for that bullshit.
I agree.
Life is too short.
Yep. And
Point blank
it's it
period.
sucks because, like, when you hear that, when you run across some of those things on social media, it's like, oh, don't forget to love your parents because they're getting old, and all that stuff. And it's like, I don't need the guilt trip. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
my parents are getting older. My dad's gonna be 54 this year. My mom's gonna be 50. I don't talk to either one of them that much, and my dad is like slowly getting worse in terms of there's no filter there anymore, and he just says whatever pops in his head. And it's gotten to a point where I don't even want to be around him because of how toxic he can be.
Let me tell you something, man. You probably don't have children, do you?
No. Mm-mm.
All right, look. So it's all about you. It's all about you. Until you have kids, it's all about you.
Right.
See, me right now, it's all about my kids. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I'm gonna tell you something that I've just now started to figure out literally over the past few days, right? Blood don't make you family.
Right.
That's what
Couldn't
people
agree more.
gotta understand. Blood doesn't make you family, bro. Love is an action word.
Yep.
I don't listen to people when they tell me they love me no more
Right.
at all.
I agree.
You gotta show me.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So I
And
mean,
the hardest part of that is when you have a narcissist as a parent that throws those words "I love you" at you so many times that you think it's genuine, and then they hurt you, and that magnitude of hurt gets so much worse. Like, when I started therapy, this is around the time where my emotional intelligence was starting to grow, and more information was pouring through my head and everything, and researching stuff. And I came across the word love bombing. And I'm like, okay, what is love bombing? I've never heard of that. And apparently it goes hand in hand with a narcissist. They use the words "I love you," or they compliment you, or they try to make you feel like you're more than, when in reality they treat you less than.
you
And
know what?
that's what
You know
my
what?
mom
You know
did.
what, Chris? You know what, Chris? I do believe your parents love you, right? But listen though. They can keep that shit over there though.
Right.
You keep that love over there, and you love me,
Yeah.
I love you.
Right.
Peace. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because
Yeah.
they're hurting, it's something that's hurting them.
Right.
You can't fix that. If they ain't fixed it by now, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and with my mom, it's gotten to the point where I, even if there was some sort of belief that she does in fact love me, I don't believe it, just for the fact of A, the things that she said to me, and B, the things that she's done to me
you know what?
physically
You
and
know what?
verbally.
If you don't believe it, then they don't love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It ain't, and that's all it is to it. I can't tell you nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can tell you. If you say they don't love you, then they don't love you.
Yeah.
Point blank, period.
Yeah. And with my dad, I think it's a little bit different. I think there's love there, but I don't think he's receptive to like actually showing that he loves anybody. It's more so
You know
if
what
I'm
I
going through, go ahead.
you know what I think about the dad situation? And I don't know about the mom. I don't know, bro. I just know because I'm a dad.
Yeah.
And a father's always got love for their sons.
Sure.
I'm my dad, I don't even that he's you want to get personal. My dad did the same thing, right? He was in prison a lot of times in my life, and then we got out. He has another son where he really takes care of his son, and that's cool. I'm happy for my brother, the little brother, but he's done me dirty, right? See, listen, a lot of people has done me very dirty, right? And
Right.
they'll never admit it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna get real with you on this podcast. Now he's sick.
Real
He's
as you want,
struggling.
man.
He's struggling big time, right? With diabetes, depression, um, and all types of stuff. And who would be better to help him with that? Me. So I sent him everything that I just sent him like 5 long text messages with every single thing that I could think of in my head that can help him. You know what the golden child do.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not trying, you know what I'm saying? So and that's it. Now I don't even keep that shit over there, bro. Like,
That's just who you are as a person. That's who
exactly.
we are. That's who we are.
Because let me keep it real with you. This is a real podcast. I don't give a if he died right now, it wouldn't matter to me.
Bro, that's how I feel about my mom. Honest to
There's
God.
nothing wrong with feeling like. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
if that's how you feel. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
So I gave him. So now it's up to him if he wants to. I've heard that he's been doing it. He's been reading it, and he's been, you know what I'm saying, doing what I told him. But basically, I say that to say, I want to say this to you, Chris. This is for you. Eventually, all those people are going to come look to you,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
to us. Don't take my word for it. It just is what it is.
I 100% believe that too.
It
Because
is what
it's
it is.
the biggest thing about my family is I'm so quiet into myself, and I show my worth. I don't prove it to anybody. I show everybody what I'm capable of, and I don't directly throw it in everybody's face. It's like, listen, I'm the most stable person in this family. Like,
What? Look,
you know what I
sometimes
mean?
look,
Like,
have you ever acted like you wasn't just to throw it out there like you that
oh
stable
yeah, oh
all the
yeah,
time?
oh yeah.
You see
And
how some of my posts it might be off the wall. I be doing that shit on purpose, right?
yeah, and it's so funny to me that like they know a version of you. They
Mm.
don't know you 100% because you don't show that 100%. Like, funny thing about my grandparents. Well, not really funny because they're assholes, but they're my mom's parents. And when I was going to the gym and I was starting to lose weight and start doing really good for myself, I was helping my grandpa with something outside. He's like, "Oh, you look like you're losing weight. You're still big." But and I look at him like, dude, I'm doing what's best for me. I'm not doing it for your approval. And I remember my grandma the same day sending me a text message saying almost the same thing, but more insulting. She was like, "Well, we're really concerned about your health, and you're still pretty big and need to lose weight." And I remember processing it before I replied, because if I would have replied how Chris 5 years ago would have replied, me and her wouldn't have a conversation
You
ever
see,
again.
look. I went through the exact same thing. Like when when I first started back into the fitness, I like cut real. Like this is like 3 years ago. I got real cut, right, and I had a picture where you can see my abs and everything, right. And I showed my grandma the picture, and she said she didn't. I'm in the picture, look diesel, swole, cut,
Right.
shining, everything. Just only thing she said was, "You holding
To
your
kill
stomach in?"
Eliza.
She said you're holding your. This is what she said. This is what she said. What you holding your stomach in?
Oh my God. Come on. Jeez. But you know, I said to her and I said, listen, I am doing the best that I can for me, and I'm not doing this for you guys. Her reply, okay. I'm like, yeah, you know I'm right. You're an asshole and you were wrong for that message.
You know what? You know what though? To get back now, see now I'm gonna piggyback off of what you're talking about off the working out, right? That's another thing that I wanted to touch on in this podcast. I got so much. Mental health is health, right?
Yep.
Everything starts with up here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but with that being said, everything plays a role into each other.
Mm-hmm.
You got to understand, if you let your physical go, your mental is going to go.
Yep.
So, but listen, this is what I want you to know, and everybody else who watch this: don't complicate this physical health shit, bro. Listen, bro, don't complicate it. Don't let the internet make it complicated for you and all that. If you get down right now after this podcast and do one set of push-ups, right, as many as you can do, right, and say you can only do 19, right, and then you take a little break because you know you might be a little bit sore just from that one set, and then when you get fully recovered, you get down and do one set of push-ups to do it. Maybe you could do 21, right? You do that until you get stronger and stronger. One set. It take you 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. So when you could do 100 push-ups straight, you're going to look like you could do 100 push-ups straight.
Right.
A stronger muscle is a bigger muscle.
Right.
Don't complicate this fitness thing.
And that's the biggest thing too, man. Like you said, like we're all creatures of habit, and we all let the internet get to us in one way or another. It's just a matter of how we react to it. And I feel like, especially with fitness, man, it becomes so discouraging because you see some of these guys that, oh, well, I was 500 pounds at one point, and now I'm 185 pounds, and this only took 2 years. It's like, okay, well, what you went through and what I'm going through aren't going to be the same journey.
Chris, you got to understand that steroid PEDs are rampant right now.
Right.
If you're 500 pounds and then 2 years, no, you can do it though. You can do it natural. You can do it natural for sure. 2 years for sure. But it really takes a while. It takes a while, bro. Like you see me, like you know what I'm saying. You look at me now. You see everything that I post.
Right.
I'm still not nowhere near where in my head maybe I think I am, but me being who I am, I know that I'm not there yet.
Right.
But see, this the thing. You have to. I love the process though. I love the journey. 2024 summer, I'm gonna be the best me, of course. But 2025, it's a wrap. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have to understand that it's a journey, and you have to learn to let. Like I don't know. Like, do you work out now?
Sometimes not as
When
much as
last
I
time you
should.
worked out?
Probably a couple weeks ago.
So when we finish this podcast, or even right now, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to do one set of push-ups,
I
perfect
got
form.
bet.
Don't worry about how many, but count. But I want you to do it perfect, full range of motion, right? One set, as many as you, all the way to the max until you can't do no more. And then one set of body weight squats. Both of these are going to take you what? I'm sure you ain't gonna be able to do. I can't even do that many push-ups. So, like perfect push-ups, I can only do like 29. Perfect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna feel amazing after you do that. One set. People don't complicate it. And when you do your squats, push through your heels. Try to keep push through your heels as much as possible and try to go as deep as possible. Now, this is the key. Count how many you do.
Okay.
Take note. And then fully recover. And then try to beat that every time. There you go. There's your fitness. That's your start. Eventually, you're going to be like, man, I need to do another one because you're going to be, and then you're going to build your way. Okay, you're going to do 2 sets, but always count that first one though. Always count that first one. So every time you do that first one, go up in the number. Don't complicate it, and do the same thing with crunches. There you go. That's it. That's your whole fitness.
It's all a matter of starting it.
And go for walks.
Right.
It don't even about start. You can do that forever. You don't have to do nothing else. Go for walks, and then 90% of it is your diet, though.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to eat good, because we both look like we like to eat good, then you might want to do more. You understand? You get what I'm coming for?
Absolutely.
So don't complicate it. You know, and so because this is all, everything goes together. Fitness, and I'm gonna get into the next one too. The next one, everything goes together, right? So if you like to eat, like we both we like to eat, so save your worst meals for after you work out
Right.
or right before you work out. It's all about decisions, man.
Hmm.
It's all about making better decisions.
Right.
Get out and walk. And one set of push-ups, bro. But make sure you one set of push-ups, one set of body weight squats, and the same thing with your abs. Just don't focus on how many you're doing. Focus on getting stronger. Don't focus on how much you're doing or when you're doing it. Focus on getting stronger and eat better.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it.
And definitely, I think the diet part is probably one of the most challenging things for all of us because it's like,
What?
you can't eat too much or you can't eat this, you can't eat this. And it's like, there's so many can'ts in that
Listen,
diet
listen, listen,
conversation.
listen. You could do anything you want to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's all up to you how fast you want to lean out.
Right.
You're going to lean out. You start throwing push-ups, that one set of push-ups, that one set of squats, and that one set of, you're going to lean out if you keep the same diet because you're burning more calories.
Right.
So it's all up to you how fast you want to lean out. See, that's what I said. It all goes together. I like to eat. So I'm not trying to be a fit asshole walking around here upset.
You're not trying
So
to be a Chad?
listen up, listen. Right. So look, I'm leaning out slowly. You
Right.
see my journey.
Yeah.
You see I'm slowly leaning out.
Hmm.
Like I might be at my leanest by like the end of the summer because when it's hot, you don't eat as much, you're
Right.
sweating. So the beginning of the fall, I'm gonna be beast Eli. And then about a month and a half, 2 months into the fall, I'm probably fat boy again. But you know what? I embrace that.
Yeah.
But don't stop training though. Don't stop doing those push-ups. Keep on getting your push-up number up.
Yeah.
And then if you and then get some dumbbells, throw some dumbbells into it. Don't complicate this whole shit. Because once you
Yeah.
do what I told you about the one set, you do that for 1 month, you're gonna be full go. You're gonna be go. You're gonna be like, up gym membership, let's go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do the one set of push-ups and the one set of squats and watch how you feel.
Yeah.
But just count
Definitely.
that first number, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so we kind of we grazed over it a little bit because it is kind of a taboo subject, and that being addiction. It's probably one of those subjects that so many of us either kind of walk on eggshells around and don't really talk about it directly because it affects so many. Um, I know currently you're trying to get your psychology degree in addiction.
specialize
You
in
know,
addiction.
you
Yep.
Yeah. So tell us how addiction affected your life. I know you mentioned loss, but when did that addiction start for you?
Around probably about 19, 20.
19. Okay, so that was around the time you got diagnosed, right?
Yep. Basically, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you
So was
want to
that
get
your way of coping?
I think it just backfired off each other. Like it just like before my mom died from AIDS, right? So
Yeah.
that was right around the time where it was she had it for a while. She had it for like what? Like she had it with my like around when my little brother was born. So he's 35. So she got it basically like a few years after I was like 4 or 5 years after I was born. So she had it for a while. So I mean, she had it for probably like 15 years, 16 years. So it was coming to the time, you know how it was, especially then. But she drunk herself. She didn't have to go. She could have,
Mm,
she could have been better. So she see that's the I had a lot of resentment for that from her because
yeah.
she didn't want to take the medicine. And she basically just sit there and stress and drunk herself to death. My mom was wonderful. My mom was great. I had the best mom ever. You know what I'm saying? And I think another reason why too, because she always felt like she was going to die. So she just spoiled the shit out of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But see, that's another reason why I'm so big on my fitness and health right now for my kids. I want to do the same thing she did to me to them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so I'm gonna get into this story because hey, you want to hear my real story?
Yeah.
when I was 19, when I first started using, right, I had ounces and ounces and ounces and ounces of cocaine, pounds and pounds and pounds of weed, right? And I started lacing the weed with the crack.
Wow.
Crack. Let's be clear, it's crack. I was smoking. So some people say you put it in your weed and you lacing it. It's not. No, you're smoking crack, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't care if it's in your weed or not. You're smoking crack, bro.
Right.
So, but this is the key though. So I went from having ounces and ounces and ounces and ounces of coke, pounds and pounds and pounds of weed, to like 4 months later, I was selling 8 balls and ounces of weed because I was smoking it. I was using it, right? So this is the kicker though. This is what I'm going to tell you. So, I started using, I lost my first relationship with my oldest son's mom. She pretty much left me ASAP. I ain't even gonna get into all that, right? Which now I'm grateful for everything, right? I'm actually grateful that I started using my own product. Let me tell you why. Because if I did it, I probably wouldn't be here right now today. I'll probably be dead or in jail.
Because you
Because
knew what you were consuming.
no. I was a straight hustler, gangster,
Right.
like kick your door in, like you don't got my money. You know what I'm saying? So I probably been in prison by now. Or dead. Somebody probably would have robbed me. Or just now get out of prison.
Right.
So I'm actually grateful that I started using. Isn't that ironic? That goes back to everything plays a part. Physical, mental, emotional. Now this goes back to spiritual. God put he made me start using my own product, all to get me to where I am right now today. You
Interesting.
see? That's what I wanted to talk about on this podcast.
Yeah.
You cannot just get better physically and think that you're not going to be better, and then think you're just automatically be better mentally. You can't just get better mentally and not get better physically and think you're just going to automatically. You can't. It's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. It has to go. Everything has to play a role in together.
Right.
And it
So
all starts with real knowledge and self knowledge. And I got to keep it real. I wanted to wait till this point to get to this. It all starts with prayer, bro.
right.
Now, I'm a follower of Christ, right? I know a lot of people might not be. See, a lot of people don't realize Jesus wasn't religious. This is not a religion. I follow Christ. I'm not religious at all. But I know some people don't do none of that, right? Still pray. I don't care. And I know everybody has it in their heart to want to seek Jesus, but they, for some odd reason, they don't. Because I've been there. So even if you don't believe, because I've been there, trust me. My youngest son mother used to be like, I used to be like, man, God ain't real. Man, why am I going to go get this shit? He ain't real. I've been praying and I'm still going to go get high right now. I'm still drinking.
Right.
God's not. She said, you know what? She's like, she's like, I disagree with you. I just try to beat her down that Jesus is not real, right? So I prayed and say, Jesus, if you're real, show me. Show me. He ain't show me nothing. I just kept doing the dumb shit. He used all of that to get me to the point where I'm at now. So even if you don't believe, still pray, ask him to come to your heart. I don't even care if you don't even believe the prayer. Just do it anyway. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it all plays a role in together. You can't have one without the other. But this is a mental health podcast, right? Mental health is health.
Right.
It all starts with the mental health.
Agreed.
Yep.
So around when would you say your recovery journey started?
I went up and down a lot.
Yeah.
So it's been worse points. True, like abstinence and like the true recovery. 2020, COVID.
So it's very recent. Okay.
Yeah, I got to almost 2 years, then I relapsed and I was back out for like 7 months. And now
Right.
I'm close to getting close to 7 months again. So
Nice.
like 4 years, probably like the last 5 years, I've probably been clean and sober like 85% of it.
Yeah.
Because I never really was. It's been, of course, it's been. I'm 40. It's been certain times where I was more deeper into my addiction than others.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I didn't just get like this in the past 6 months. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say it doesn't define you. That shit doesn't define who you are.
Right.
Because I've had people who call me crackheads and then 2 weeks later ask me to bring their kids food or can they get some? And but I'm the crackhead, though. The crackhead is feeding you. So it doesn't define you. You know what I'm saying? So, but COVID,
So COVID's around the time where that started. Okay.
COVID is why I got all the way clean and sober and abstain from
Yeah.
everything. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna let that shit kill me. I
Did
was
you
off
do any
that.
kind of program?
No, I did it on my own. Let me tell you how
Oh,
I started. I
yeah.
did a
Please.
5-day water fast. I didn't eat. I water fast for 5 days.
Water fast. Really?
Check this out. Water fast is not just physical. It's
Mm,
it even addiction. If you water fast, it's gonna reset your whole system. And ain't gonna be no more nicotine cravings. I mean, of course, you're gonna mentally kind of crave it,
sure.
but you know what I'm saying? But it's gonna reset your system. That nicotine shit is gonna be gone. Your body is remarkable. So you stop putting everything into your body, you only put water, your body is gonna cleanse itself.
Yeah.
It's hard to
So
do. Mhm.
tell me how the water fasting works. Like, how much
All
water a day are you drinking?
all this start right now, where I'm at
Mhm.
right now, who you speaking to right now, all started from that 5-day water fast.
So, like, were you drinking a specific amount of water every day?
See, that goes back to the real knowledge of self knowledge. You drink how much water. See, I always drink a lot of water, always.
Right.
So that I can't really say, you know what I'm saying? I've always drank a lot of water.
Yeah.
But if you're going to water fast, I want you to drink at least 5 bottles of water, at least. If you're thirsty, drink some water.
Right. Right.
Drink water when you're thirsty. So there's really no number.
So it is just
Try to
it's a
drink, try to
mental.
drink more though. Try to drink
Yeah.
as much water as you can.
Right.
You know what
So
I mean?
it
But don't.
was just a mental mind game
It's all
trying to
mental, bro.
overcome those 5 days. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's it. But you know that I did that by listening to gospel. I put my headphones on. I got my headphones right here. These headphones right here. I put them on and I just laid in my bed. You can't do too much, bro. See, I was fortunately I was in a position where I did that. You know what I mean? So I just laid in my bed for the most part. Had cases of water in my room, and I just listened to gospel. Basically,
Wow.
gospel is what did it, and rap too. Like sometimes
Right.
I had to.
Right.
So when the gospel didn't do it, I had to put on some rap because I had to slice myself up because I
You gotta
knew
go the opposite way for a second.
what I knew if I didn't eat, I knew what that was going to do to my body and
Right.
my spirit and my
Did it make
mind.
you angry?
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know, not angry. I knew it. I knew if I completed that 5-day water fast, I knew what it was
Uh,
going to do.
right.
If you okay, if you can deny yourself food, you can do anything, bro. If you can
That's
deny yourself food, you can do
yeah.
anything.
Especially for 5 days. Like, that is probably
Exactly.
one of the wildest things I've ever heard. But
Yeah,
that's
but
pretty.
you don't have to start off 5 days. Just do it one day. If you
Yeah.
can deny yourself food for one day, don't eat nothing.
Yeah.
48 hours is what I want is what I would suggest people do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, fasting is one of the hardest things I think I've ever tried to do. And I think when I was working out, fasting and then doing gym stuff, not eating still, it's just like, yeah, this is brutal. Um,
I mean, I this is how I did it though. This is how I'm gonna tell you how I did it. God, first of all, but second of all, I'm gonna tell you how I did it. I knew it. I knew if I can deny myself food, I could do anything.
right.
I could do anything. You can't tell me nothing. At the end of that 5-day water fast, you can't tell me shit.
I did that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
Right.
hardest thing you can do is deny yourself something to eat, bro.
Yeah.
Come on,
No
bro.
kidding, man. Oh
My
my God.
roommates was eating microwave dinners, ordering pizza. I was up in my room looking like a sad puppy, but I knew if I did that, I could do anything. You know?
Um, so I know you mentioned I think your son's mom, right? Your first son's mom, you said you had a broken relationship with. Do you have a relationship with your son?
Yeah. My son played hockey for Temple University. I talk
Okay,
to him
cool.
almost every day. I got some videos
Nice.
of him.
Nice.
Hence
See,
my
I didn't know if
top.
like I didn't
Yeah.
know if that was another trial that
Oh, see. Okay, go ahead. No, I got
I
to
was
see. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you're good,
I have
man.
a bad
I
habit of
was
cutting people off, yo. Go ahead.
it's
I
all
told you
good,
I'm
man.
passionate.
I just didn't know if that falling out with her ended up being a falling out with him too.
I'll get into it. It's back then. It seemed like it was forever, bruh. But it was like I think like 2 to 4 months where I didn't really get to see him because
I
I
can
was tripping.
imagine.
I was drinking this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And see, back then it seemed like it's forever, but nah, it was only like 2 months. And then I think about it now, maybe I don't think it was 4, so like 2.5 months. But nah, see, that's the thing. That's one of the things about me, bro. I my kids, so I got to keep. So I can't even forget that factor. I
mhm,
love my boys,
yeah,
and being a great father has always been big for me.
yeah,
So 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 people who don't have kids, it might be harder for them to do what I did because I'm
sure.
doing it for my kids.
Mhm.
So that's
Um,
the big thing. Yeah.
are you open with them about things that you've
Everything,
struggled with? You are okay,
everything.
because I know there's a lot of men in general that just internalize that shit. And, where we're at right now with the silent epidemic of male suicide. So that's great that you're open with that, man. It's because I
I
think
know
it's a
every
generation
I know
issue.
everybody say this.
Mhm.
Not my kids, not my
Yeah.
kids. See, you see what I talk about on my
Yeah.
social media and all that. So what do you think I tell my kids?
Yeah. Probably the same thing.
Forever, since they
Yeah.
were kids. Like this is not just like excellence is not just a singular act.
Right.
So my kids is just I'm blessed with like the best two boys. Period. Point blank. Period. I don't even deserve them. I tell them all the time. I don't even deserve y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like they're amazing, bro. Like you have no
How
idea.
old are
I'm
they?
13 and 22
They're in the 22-year-olds playing hockey.
for Temple University. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Do you go to his games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came to where I'm at and played Mason like a few weeks ago. George Mason,
Nice.
because I live around George Mason. So I went to
Right.
that one. I've been to Philly. But I ain't been to all of them because it's like all over up and down the East Coast. So
Yeah.
but when he was younger, yeah, because he was more close local, you know. But yeah.
Right.
Now me and my kids, tight, bro. Tight. Point
That's
blank.
good, man. It's good. I love hearing that, man, because I feel in the world of technology, it's hard to come across those kind of connections. So it's inspiring to hear, somebody who has gone through your journey and have such a strong relationship with your kids, because I feel like I hear far too often the opposite,
But
especially in this community.
this goes back to what I want to tell everybody who might watch this podcast. Don't listen to what nobody say to you, bro. Do your own thing and don't take what people say to you so serious because I've had people who try to down me and their kids don't even talk to them.
Yeah.
And I say that to say you got to do your own thing. Don't let nobody define who you are. That's the biggest thing. Don't let people on social media, don't let people in your house or in your life define who you are and make you feel you have to. That was the biggest thing, bro. Like always trying to shrink myself to all of them. Because you got to understand, people who are doing more than you, they don't have time to criticize you.
Right.
So if anybody is criticizing you, they're not doing what you're doing.
Right.
You
Yeah, no,
understand what I'm
I
saying?
completely agree. And the cliche saying of "don't point fingers if your hands are still dirty"
Yeah.
is one of my favorite sayings that I think I've ever heard. Another thing that we kind of talked about was triggers. I want to graze back over that one because I feel for the longest time it was a word that people poked fun at other people being triggered, and I feel social media has made a mockery out of the word trigger.
Social media
Um,
made a mockery out of everything.
Yeah. And so what do you think is the best way to approach a trigger? Because here's my perspective on triggers. I feel if you're not getting triggered over something, then you can't improve on said thing that is triggering you.
Exactly. So the biggest way is reflection.
Yeah.
You have to reflect. You have to
Right.
reflect on what your triggers are.
Mhm.
You have to take time out to reflect. Pray is one of them. Meditation, reflection. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to real knowledge and self-knowledge. And it's the same thing with anything, financially, mentally, physically, addiction. Is all you got to know your triggers that makes you do the shit that you're not supposed to do. Triggers is basically something that triggers you to be, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what is a trigger? So with that being said, like, I lost my train of thought again. I'm always my brain is like a million. You know, obviously, see that's what I'm saying. Like I lost my train of thought. So reflection, right? So
Mhm.
you have to figure out what your priorities are and what you want to do and how you want your life to be, and
Mhm.
then you cut out anything that's keeping you from doing that.
Right.
That
And
goes back to boundaries, all of that.
mhm.
So
And I feel with triggers, it's important to face all of those challenges head on, because in a
yes,
society of creating that illusion of fear, one of the biggest things I talked about in my last podcast with Heather, um, is society's telling us to run away from those fears, to avoid those fears,
yep,
and
that's so natural. That's so
the best way for us to um, defeat these triggers is to face them head on, to welcome them as a challenge, to overcome them, and then the next time it happens in your life, you know how to overcome it.
yeah. So this is what I've gotten of this. Literally, I'm gonna touch on exactly what I'm going through because we all go through everything every day. Everything is not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I might make it look easy, but it ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? So the way I've been able to deal with fears, this is me personally, is trusting God because a lot of people don't know this, and I'm not a Bible scholar or nothing like that. But when you have fear, that's like a sin because you're not trusting in the Lord.
Right.
So just faith, bro. Because I have a lot of fears. Of course, I have fears, but
Yeah.
but every single day, my fears are getting less and less and less because I trust more and more and more in the Lord every
And
single day.
somebody like myself who isn't a direct follower of Christ like yourself, hearing your testament to having those fears is because you don't have faith in the Lord. I actually like that argument a lot because it makes sense in the long run when you digest it and you think about how it's put out there. Is if you're afraid of something, it's because you don't have a belief system or you don't have a foundation to stand on to overcome that fear.
It's kind of like I don't know if this is directly related, but if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for something. You're gonna fall for
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
So you have to find in your life what you would die for,
Yeah.
and you have to find out in your life with like if you don't have nothing in your life that you would die for, then you're gonna have fears.
Yeah.
So I
And
figured out I'm gonna die. I would die trying to help people with their mental illness, with their physical health, bringing people. I would die for that. I would
right.
die for that. If you said somebody might come kill you right now with this podcast, I don't. Well, hey, so be it. I'm gonna be dead, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I found
And
out
that
what
message is still there. Your impact is still there.
exactly that's what I'm saying. So
And I feel in this community, it's so important to acknowledge that all of us have a special impact in it one way or another. And I wish there was more openness to belief systems in this community, because it's just kind of, obviously there's that black cloud over religion. There's that black cloud over the following of God and Christ and everything, just because, again, social media being social media and creating that black cloud over people's belief
first of
systems.
all, Jesus Christ wasn't religious.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I don't follow religion. I follow Christ. I follow every single word of the Lord.
Hmm.
And I'm not the Lord. I'm not God, but I try to follow His word to the T.
Right.
Of course, I don't follow His word to the T. Of course, like you know what I'm saying, like, but I try my
Yeah.
best.
And that's all we can do, man. And I wish that people would be more accepting of that. Like, we're all not going to be straight arrows in this community. We're all not going to be perfect all the time. And for people to act like they're entitled to have a circle full of people that are perfect, and then the second we step outside of that box, the second we step out of that mold that they created for us, we're labeled as a problem. We're labeled as crazy. We're labeled as this, and this.
I've been there plenty. Yo,
Yeah.
bruh, listen, man. Most of those people who label you as crazy, they're the crazy ones.
Right.
Facts are not shots.
Facts.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure anybody who watched this podcast or in your mental health movement will understand exactly what I'm saying. I sit back and I thought about everybody called me crazy. I had some people that call me crazy, but you going out drinking and doing wild, crazy shit every single weekend. I'm in the house drinking water, reading the Bible.
Right.
I'm doing a podcast right now on Saturday. What are you doing? But I'm the crazy one though. Yeah. I'm crazy. My crazy ass is right here trying to help other crazy people.
Right.
Let's be crazy together, you guys.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that goes back to you can't listen to nobody, bro, because people are just like there's a lot of fucked up people in this world, bro.
I agree.
And most of them, and most of us with mental illnesses or mental illness diagnosis, we're not those. Right. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
I can tell you that most of the people who has like bipolar, or we're not the fucked up ones for the most part.
Right.
That's how
we're just trying to get by and fight this battle that everybody else is fighting.
Right. A lot of people gonna put their insecurities or their limitations, try to put their insecurities and limitations off onto you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like one time when I first started talking about this, my uncle was like, "Boy, get off of there talking about all that." But look at you and look at me now. I talk about it, but look. And I'm not, this is not coming from an egotistical place. It is what it is. I'm the crazy one. I'm the crackhead, but I'm him though.
Mm-hmm.
So don't let nobody. Do you understand?
I am him.
But I'm not trying to say that from a. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I know.
So it don't define you. It's like you say this about me, but look at you and look at me.
Yeah.
So don't. Who cares of what people say? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You can't. People.
That should be number one.
Yeah, because you can't
forget anybody.
What they say don't mean nothing, bro. Like what me and you go through with our parents, with your dad and my dad, like they don't even mean shit. Like they can say, don't nobody. Only person that matters is what you think about yourself.
Yeah. Right.
Because at the end of the day,
it's that self-love, man.
Yeah, we gotta look in the mirror and see our own selves for what we are.
Exactly. So I usually ask all of my guests this, and I'm gonna ask you this as well, since you yourself contribute to this community and have the platform that you have. So what does the mental health community mean to you, and what is one thing that you would change to benefit others and yourself?
In the mental health community, you mean the group or just
in general? Just in general.
I want to change. Like, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Do not be afraid to talk about it, bro. Because like I said, a lot of people down me when I always talked about it, or when I talk about getting the sun and putting my feet in the earth. They, oh, you crazy, or it doesn't make, this is talking about it doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong.
Absolutely agree.
Because I talk about it all day, every day, the addiction and all that shit, right? And I'm unbreakable right now. Like, don't take my word for it. Everything is evident. I've dealt with addiction. I've dealt with mental health. But I'm unbreakable now. You know why? Because I talked about it. The people who don't talk about it, who won't admit it, who won't own up to it, who won't accept it, they're still broke. Because you can't fix what you don't acknowledge as broke.
Right. Definitely.
So first of all, acknowledge it. Like I said, it was harder for me to accept the mental health than the damn addiction.
Right. And I definitely feel, for some reason, mental health has been a taboo subject for far too long. I'm glad that we can have these conversations now, even though we still got plenty ways to go before, this craziness of people taking their lives and everything else can hopefully slow down, and we start leveling that curve, because it just gets higher and higher every single year, man. And
Label this episode 1 with the Golden Child, because we're not
gotcha,
done yet. We're it,
gotcha.
it never ends. It never ends, bro.
Yeah,
Like our work is never going to end. And once
right.
you understand that, then we have a start,
Yeah,
because it's never going to end. Like, I don't care if this podcast just changed one person's lives for the better. This was a successful podcast.
I agree.
It was successful because it probably changed my life for the better. Maybe it changed yours, but I know it helped me.
Yeah,
For me to be
definitely helped me a lot too.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So for me to be able to come on here and talk about what I'm talking about, it helped me. It changed my life for the better. So it's
Yeah,
successful. So now I hopefully, and I'm gonna pray, and I prayed before this, that it changed, it helps someone,
yeah, me
and you are
too.
someone. So you said if it helps you, then there you go. It's successful.
Absolutely.
But this is just part one.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, so before we wrap up today's episode with the quote that I like to read to our listeners, where can our followers find you on social media?
Eliza space the Golden Child, one word, TheGoldenChild, Landsdown, Lansdow'n. Eliza is a blue check. That's the Facebook and the Instagram and the TikTok. It's all Eliza, the Golden Child, Lansdown. So I don't know if you could put
Perfect.
that on like the video or
Yeah, I'll put it in the description for sure.
yeah. So everything that I talk about, you know me, I share everything, and it's all to motivate, inspire, educate, right? So
Absolutely.
if you really want to just get into everything I'm talking about, just follow all my platforms, because
Yeah.
it's not really for me. You know that my platforms is not for me. Like, sometimes a lot of people take me the wrong way because I might be popping my shit, but that's because I'm like getting ready to go to the gym. Or I just
Right.
sometimes when I leave the gym though, don't get me off that pre-workout, and then I, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
but it's all just to motivate, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
So if you really want to just really get deep into my mind, follow my platforms. I'm not
Thank
trying to
you.
make money off them platforms, to tell you. I'm not. This is what people don't understand. Like, I'm probably not going to make money off those platforms.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Like, I make my own money in the other ways.
Right.
So I just want to reach somebody and inspire or educate or motivate people with those
Yeah.
platforms. You know
And,
what
and
I'm saying?
that's the most important part of what we're doing, man. Just trying to help that one person. If it
That's
helps
it.
40 people, great. If it helps one person, great.
Right.
Um, but before I read this quote, I just want to say thank you again for coming on the podcast, man.
Thank
I
you.
think this has been one of my favorite conversations, because just having another guy on here who's willing to be as open as you have been, genuinely appreciate it. So thank you again.
Man, I could tell we've been through the same type of stuff, bro. You could just
Yeah,
tell, man. Like,
yeah.
it's evident. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
So today's quote is another page from this book that I've been reading. It's called Crossroads Reflections. And this one is from March 18th, and it reads, there is indeed a sense that the word hell might be an appropriate word for here, but then so would the word home. Someone has said that a religious person is someone who believes in hell, and a spiritual person is someone who has been there. That last line of somebody who has been to a literal hell, like yourself or like myself, who has gone through suicidal ideations, who has gone through addiction, who has gone through grief and loss, like you and I have experienced. Um, I think it's so important to acknowledge our journey, to acknowledge that we're overcoming that journey, and to acknowledge that we are that beacon of hope. We are exactly what we are supposed to be right now. And you're the golden child. You're that light in everybody's
So
life that
you want to
we're
know what
showing.
I take from that? What you just read?
Absolutely.
We went through hell, right? And we're here right now, right? So we're here for a reason.
Exactly.
Understand that all these people are dying all day, every day, and we're still here. That means we're here for a reason. So find out what your passion is and what you like to do that's positive, that contributes to society, and put all your energy into that shit.
Absolutely agreed.
That's how you
Um,
overcome all of that. Period.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I hope all my listeners get something out of that quote or get even a little bit out of this podcast because Eliza, you've been great. I think a lot of my listeners will think the same because you have such a bright personality and a way to put out your message that I feel all of us can relate
One more
to.
thing too. I told you
Yeah,
I'm gonna get it in. I want to tell people you might feel like that you're in a bad place and you might feel like you're going to die and you might feel like everything is terrible. But guess what? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to die. You're going to be here 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. So do something to get yourself out of that place. Don't be in this same place 20 years from now. I
yeah,
know it feels like you're going to die. I feel like I was going to die. So I didn't even, you think I thought I was going to make it to 40, bro? You think I don't even think I'm gonna make it till 50, but you know what? Chances are I'm going to make it till 50. So I want to be where I'm supposed to be when I'm 50.
absolutely.
So get up and change it because you're not gonna die. You're going to be here.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
And thank you for that, man.
Thank
No, that
you.
was
Thank
great.
you. Mhm.
And to all my listeners, thank you again for the support. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and now on iHeartRadio. So thank you guys again for tuning in. As always, be gentle with yourselves. And until next time, much love, guys.